I'm State Representative Justin Simmons of the 131st District, and welcome to my legislative report. Today we are at the new and exciting Top Cut Steakhouse on the third level at the Melt Restaurant at the Promenade Shops in Saucon Valley. I'm joined today by owner George Paxos and his corporate chef Christopher Heath. How you guys doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I understand Paxos Restaurants has transformed the top floor here at Melt to this new and exciting steakhouse. How did this idea come about?
Well, it started actually a few years ago. We've talked about what we were going to do with what was then level 3, and we wanted to do something different with it, and we just couldn't pinpoint the exact concept and what we wanted to do. The restaurants within the Promenade have exclusivity to the type of cuisine they serve. So when Shula's announced that they were leaving, we spoke with the landlord and we got the landlord's approval to convert level 3 into an upscale steakhouse.
George, your family of restaurants, including Blue, Melt, Torre, Firepoint Grill, and now Top Cut Steakhouse, are premier establishments across the region here. Why a steakhouse?
Well, I thought there was a huge hole in the Lehigh Valley for a very high-end steakhouse. We're the only steakhouse in the Lehigh Valley and probably within 50, 60 miles that serves 100% USDA prime meats. And more specific than that are all the cattle's genetically tested, and they're cut from 100% Black Angus cattle. So it's 100% Black Angus, USDA prime, and the quality is second to none.
Chris, as Top Cut's corporate chef, what are some of your popular menu choices?
We have quite a few up here. We have a lot of steakhouse favorites like Oysters Rockefeller, Clams Casino. We have extensive raw bar selection, as well as our great seafood, Dover sole, king salmon, to name a few.
Any surprises for the upcoming holiday season?
We'll always carry South African lobster tails, and we'll bring some great cuts like the tomahawk steak, 32-ounce tomahawk steak for our guests.
I've been told that Top Cut is only open Tuesday through Saturday and only for dinner. How did your group arrive at this decision?
Well, as I said, this restaurant is very high end. So, for instance, as an example, the tomahawk, it's a dry aged product that's been dry aged for 30 to 35 days, USDA prime, cut from the best possible meats that you could cut from. So, therefore, the ingredient is very expensive. So our Top Cut is at definitely the highest end of all our restaurants, and because of the price point, we decided that Tuesday through Saturday evening would be the best days to serve the public.
Chris, how many dining guests can the restaurant accommodate at this time?
We can accommodate 170 guests, including the bar.
George, Paxos Restaurants has been named a top place to work in the Lehigh Valley for 3 years in a row. That's quite an honor. Can you share some secrets with us?
For many, many years, and at all our manager meetings, one thing that we remind ourselves of is that our greatest assets are not our sticks and bricks and chandeliers and the beauty of our restaurants, but it's our employees. And we need our employees to enjoy what they do. And obviously we have guidelines and they have to work within those guidelines, but we work hard to create a workplace and an atmosphere where people truly love coming to work. And I have many guests, many friends of mine that actually say those words to me, that it's great to come to your restaurants because you can tell that your employees really enjoy working for you. So that's very important to us.
Excellent. You guys want to talk about some of these steaks here on this platter and explain to our audience what each steak is?
We serve two types of steaks here, wet aged steaks and dry aged steaks. Here in the front row, we have our porterhouse, filet, bone-in strip, and our boneless ribeye. Mm-hmm. On the back section here, this is all dry aged. We have a spec of 30 to 35 dry age. So we have a tomahawk ribeye here, a boneless strip steak, and then a bone-in ribeye. So, gives our guests some different varieties and different flavor profiles that really can cater to anyone's taste.
When you say dry aged, what do you mean?
So to tenderize the product, it has to be aged. Okay, so there's different processes that the meat will go through. The most common is the wet age, the wet age process, where the primal cuts are aged in their cryovac. Dry age are aged in a certain conditions of balance of humidity and air, and to the open element of that condition, and it really concentrates the moisture. It gets reduced from that meat, allowing the product to get that much more concentrated flavor. So it does have a more robust kind of earthy flavor, and it's not for everyone, but we as well, like we mentioned, we only age our steaks to 30 to 35 days. There's many other restaurants, in let's say Chicago, that can, serve 60 days and even more than that. Our spec is very specific for that gentle flavor profile, and that's what we appreciate up here, and have really have received great response from our guests with that.
Chris, when did you get your start with Paxos Restaurants?
I started my collaboration with George in 2006 to open this building, Melt in Level 3. So that's when I moved to the Valley.
George, do you want to talk about any of your other restaurants in the area? Maybe give a plug out to what other restaurants that your group owns?
Sure, but before we get to that, just real quick, I know we've talked about our great steaks, but Top Cut also has seafood that we fly in from all over the world of equal quality. And one big thing that we're missing out on is our cocktail program here is second to none. It's all fresh ingredients. It's actually a show. People will come to our bar and watch our bartenders make the cocktails, and they're just fabulous. And the credit that I give to that is to our GM, Grant Parker, who Christopher and I actually met in Dallas. And we were down there looking to buy equipment for Firepoint, the American Grill in Newtown Square. And we walked into this bar, and I said to Christopher, I said, I've never seen anyone as good behind the bar as this guy. And we started talking, and 2 hours later I gave him my business card. 2 weeks later he was on an airplane flying up here, and he was here to open up this restaurant, and has really done a phenomenal job. And then in addition to that is our wine list. We are definitely the only restaurant that I know of, at least, within 50, 60 miles to serve Screaming Eagle. So we have $500,000 inventory of wines with 300, 400 different vintages and varieties. So we have an enormous wine list. And it's really all that together that makes Top Cut what it is. It's all those things. To answer your question regarding other restaurants, Tode, which has been open now a little over 3 years, is our Mexican restaurant. It was a theme that was built around, obviously, Mexican food, but we wanted Mexican food that was freshly prepared and high-end, using high-end ingredients, which is really the philosophy across our entire company. So when you get skirt steak at Tode, you're getting a USDA prime skirt steak, and it melts in your mouth. But the concept was built around, obviously, great food, and we wanted tequila and beer. So we have this one-of-a-kind tequila tower that was custom-made for us that houses over 100 different types of tequilas that we serve. And our beer, we have 16 beers on draft, which, again, the concept there is about beer and tequila. And we have the best margaritas I've ever tasted. It was a recipe that we worked on, collaborative effort for 3 to 4 months to actually perfect that margarita recipe, and we sell a ton of them. The restaurant that I guess I have a weak spot for, is Blue. That restaurant opened in 1980. It was called Candlelight Inn at the time. And obviously it was a very small restaurant that has grown and has had addition and transformation over the years. And then Blue was created. And so that restaurant is something that I've owned since I'm 20. And is something is one of the restaurants that has there's a weak spot in my heart for Blue. But not that I don't love all our restaurants. Our concepts are all very unique. You know, like the guy in Jurassic Park said, we spare no expense. We hire great lighting designers, restaurant designers. We use a company out of New York City that is not the cheapest, but we feel they're the best. And you know, lighting is important, and we make sure everything, the air conditioning, the music, every restaurant has that kind of detail. We look at all the details in the restaurant to make sure we deliver the whole experience to our guests. Because going to a restaurant like ours is a lot more than just eating out. People are out to be entertained, and we need to deliver to that.
Anything else you guys would like to add?
You can definitely find all our restaurants at paxosrestaurants.com.
Okay.
And you'll find links to all 5 restaurants there. So.
Excellent. Anything you'd like to add, George?
No, you know, just to elaborate on your question earlier, as far as private parties, between our restaurants, we have some of the nicest facilities for private events. We can handle all types of groups from 10 people to 400 people, either at Blue or at Melt or at Top Cut. Even Torre is a really fun place to do private parties. And for those that travel down to Newtown Square, Firepoint does private parties as well. So that's a big part of our business.
Chris and George, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm State Representative Justin Simmons here at Top Cut Steakhouse in Center Valley, and this is my legislative report. See you next time.